Welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, unexpected treasures, and valuable collectibles that could be hiding in plain sight. And today, you're in for something truly remarkable, because we're diving into one of the most talked about, mysterious, and potentially lucrative coins in modern U.S. history. The 1964 Jefferson nickel that has stunned collectors and experts alike by commanding an astounding price tag of up to $76,000 due to an array of peculiar errors, minting anomalies, and extremely rare characteristics that elevate it from ordinary change to numismatic legend. So make sure you stick around as we unpack everything from the minting history, the errors, the authentication process, and the possibilities that might mean you, or someone you know, could be holding a fortune in your pocket without even realizing it. Because the story of the 1964 nickel is not just about money, it's about a strange convergence of historical context, mechanical failure, human oversight, and numismatic rarity that turned an otherwise common 5-cent piece into a collector's dream, beginning with the fact that the year 1964 marked an unusual period in U.S. minting history due to the economic climate, coin shortages, and policy changes from the U.S. Treasury that were intended to stabilize the coin supply but instead led to some of the most fascinating and rare minting errors in circulation, and among these, the 1964 Jefferson nickel stands out in particular because of a combination of several factors, such as double die errors, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, improper alloy compositions, full steps details, and even an exceedingly rare occurrence of coins being struck on silver planchets instead of the standard copper-nickel composition. And to understand the full scope of its rarity, let's break down what makes the 1964 Jefferson nickel such an anomaly, starting with the double die errors, which occur when the coin die itself is improperly manufactured and ends up striking coins with a noticeable doubling of design elements like Jefferson's profile, the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date, 1964. And these doubling features, when pronounced and distinct, can increase a coin's value exponentially, especially when found on a coin as old and widely circulated as this one. And then there's the off-center strike, which happens when a coin blank is not properly seated in the striking chamber, causing the design to be stamped off-center and leaving a crescent-shaped blank portion on the coin. A type of error that is eye-catching to collectors and valued based on how far off-center the strike is, with more dramatic examples being far more valuable. And in addition to that, there are also examples of the 1964 nickel where the mint mark, usually a small d for the Denver Mint, or no mark for Philadelphia, was repunched, meaning the mint mark was accidentally punched more than once in slightly different locations, creating a ghost-like or shadow appearance, which collectors prize because it demonstrates a specific kind of human or mechanical error that was supposed to be caught in quality control but managed to make it through the minting process and into circulation. And then we must consider the alloy composition itself. Because although 1964 nickels were officially minted using a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, there are extremely rare specimens that were mistakenly struck on silver planchets, which were intended for dimes or other denominations, and this kind of error is so rare and specific that it requires precise testing, typically using X-ray fluorescence spectroscopy or specific gravity tests, to confirm the unusual metal content. And if such a coin is verified, its value can skyrocket due to its hybrid nature, combining two denominations and compositions in one coin. And let's not forget one of the most critical markers of Jefferson nickel rarity, the full steps designation, which refers to the depiction of the steps leading up to Monticello on the reverse of the coin. And due to worn dies or weak strikes, most nickels do not show these steps in full detail. But when a 1964 nickel exhibits 5 or 6 fully visible and unbroken steps, it achieves the full steps status, which is a coveted marker of high quality and rarity among collectors, dramatically raising the coin's value, especially if it's in mint state condition, which means it shows no signs of wear and retains its original luster. And when you combine any two or more of these features, such as a full steps designation plus a double die error, or a silver planchet strike plus a repunched mint mark, you're looking at a numismatic jackpot, where even circulated coins can be worth hundreds or thousands, while high-grade examples with multiple errors can reach values well beyond $76,000 as seen in some notable auctions and private sales, and there are even whispered rumors in collector circles about ultra-rare transitional errors from 1964, involving leftover planchets from previous years or test strikes from experimental dies, which if confirmed, could send the value soaring even higher. And part of what makes the 1964 nickel such a compelling coin is its sheer ubiquity. Hundreds of millions were minted between the Philadelphia and Denver mints as part of the U.S. government's effort to combat the national coin shortage at the time, meaning that countless examples ended up in circulation and remain in coin jars, drawers, or personal collections to this day. And because so many were produced, collectors initially overlooked them in favor of rarer issues, but over time, specialists and graders began to uncover these remarkable errors and variations, leading to a growing interest in examining even the most seemingly mundane examples from that year. And as a result, professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC now receive thousands of 1964 nickels every year from hopeful collectors, all looking for that one perfect example with the right combination of errors and high condition that could turn an ordinary 5-cent piece into a 5-figure windfall. And that brings us to the critical importance of authentication and grading, because for any 1964 nickel to reach those astronomical values, it must be certified by a trusted grading service that confirms the error, the condition, and the uniqueness of the coin, and this involves expert analysis under magnification, comparison against known error types, and precise classification using the Sheldon scale, which grades coins from 1 to 70. With coins graded MS65 or higher, especially those with full steps and verified mint errors, commanding the highest prices at auction, and to add another layer of complexity, some rare 1964 nickels were struck using proof dies at the regular mint facility, possibly due to rushed production schedules or miscommunication between departments, resulting in coins with unusually sharp details, mirrored fields, and frosted devices, which look like proofs but were not officially released as such, and these hybrid coins defy simple classification, making them all the more intriguing to advanced collectors who seek out anomalies and historically significant pieces. And all of this is why experts consistently advise collectors and casual coin enthusiasts alike to closely examine their 1964 nickels, using a jeweler's loupe or microscope to check for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, unusual coloration suggesting a different alloy, or even subtle differences in the mint mark's shape and placement. And because some of these valuable errors are subtle to the untrained eye, it's often worthwhile to have potentially rare coins reviewed by a numismatist or submitted for grading. Especially if you come across a coin that appears in unusually good condition or displays features that seem different from other nickels of the same year. And with modern tools, online databases, and community resources like coin forums and video tutorials, it's easier than ever for people to start learning what to look for and how to identify the key traits that separate a valuable 1964 nickel from a common one. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who's just curious about the coins in your change jar, the story of the 1964 nickel is a powerful reminder that treasures still exist out there, hiding in the everyday, waiting to be discovered by those with sharp eyes and a bit of curiosity. Because who would have guessed that a simple nickel, struck during a time of economic uncertainty, could one day be worth more than many people's cars or even down payments on homes? And that's the thrill of numismatics. How the convergence of history, craftsmanship, and chance can produce artifacts that are not only fascinating but also immensely valuable. And while not every 1964 nickel will be worth thousands, the possibility alone makes the hunt worthwhile, and with new discoveries happening all the time, it's entirely possible that even more varieties and errors will emerge in the future, adding further intrigue to this already captivating coin. So the next time you come across a 1964 nickel, don't dismiss it as pocket change. Instead, take a moment to inspect it carefully, because you just might be holding a piece of history worth a small fortune. And as always, thanks for tuning in to our deep dive into the world of rare coins. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the amazing stories behind the coins you thought you knew. And who knows, the next life-changing discovery might be sitting in your palm right now. And while the 1964 Jefferson nickel remains one of the most iconic and surprising examples of how an ordinary coin can become extraordinarily valuable, it's far from the only nickel to capture the attention of serious collectors and everyday treasure hunters alike. Because next up, we're turning our focus to a much more modern piece that has also shocked the numismatic community with its high value despite being relatively young: the 2012 Jefferson nickel, which, under very specific conditions and due to a rare combination of errors and high-grade preservation, has been known to fetch as much as $15,000 at auction, a price that leaves many people scratching their heads at first glance, because how can a coin minted just over a decade ago and still commonly found in change possibly be worth that kind of money? But once again, as we peel back the layers and examine the full story behind the 2012 nickel, we uncover how modern minting processes, quality control, inconsistencies, and collector demand converge to elevate certain coins into the realm of high-value collectibles, and it all begins with understanding what makes this particular coin from the Denver Mint stand out, especially when there were tens of millions of 2012 nickels produced, and yet, only a tiny fraction of those have achieved the level of perfection, rarity, and error significance required to command such steep prices, starting with the fundamental fact that high-value 2012 nickels are almost always those that have been graded at the absolute top of the scale, often MS-68 or MS-69, which is incredibly difficult to attain given that even minor imperfections like nicks, scratches, or weak strikes can significantly lower a coin's grade. And what makes the 2012 nickel so special is that a few extremely high-grade examples with flawless surfaces, sharp details, and perfect luster have appeared at major auctions, where bidding wars among serious registry set collectors have driven the price sky high, and this kind of value explosion is fueled in part by the competitive nature of registry sets, which are collections graded and ranked by major organizations like PCGS or NGC, and collectors vying to have the highest ranking set of modern nickels are willing to pay premium prices for top population coins, meaning those with the highest known grades, especially when only a handful exist at that level. And the 2012 nickel is a perfect storm of being modern enough that most people wouldn't think to preserve it, yet rare enough in pristine condition that the few top-graded examples become instant trophies in the collector world. But beyond grade alone, what really pushes certain examples of this coin toward the $15,000 mark is the presence of minting errors or anomalies that set them apart from standard circulation strikes. And some of the known errors that have been documented on 2012 nickels include dramatic die cracks, where the metal die used to strike the coin begins to fracture and leaves raised lines across the surface of the coin, sometimes looking like lightning bolts or spiderwebs, errors which are especially desirable when they appear in visually striking patterns or on both the obverse and reverse. And then there are off-center strikes, which are always popular among error collectors. And when you find a modern coin like the 2012 nickel with a 50% off-center strike that still shows the date and mint mark clearly, you have a highly desirable error that's worth hundreds or even thousands on its own. And if that off-center coin is also in near-perfect condition, you've just amplified the value tremendously. And let's not forget the occasional wrong planchet error, where a nickel might be mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, such as a dime, or even a foreign coin, creating a hybrid piece that stands out instantly to experts and sells for impressive sums. And in the case of the 2012 nickel, there have been whispers and some unofficial reports in coin forums and private collector groups about such misstrikes existing, and though extremely rare, their confirmation would explain why some 2012 nickels have achieved values that defy expectations. But even without such extreme errors, the coin's value can rise astronomically when it occupies the highest grade tiers, especially since PCGS population reports show only a minuscule number of these nickels ever achieving MS-68 or above, and when only one or two coins in existence hold that top slot, collectors who need that coin to complete a flawless registry set may be willing to pay 5 figures just to secure it, and this kind of demand isn't hypothetical. It's been demonstrated time and time again with other modern issues, where the race for top pop status fuels aggressive bidding and record-breaking prices. And what adds to the intrigue is that many people still see the 2012D nickel as too new to be valuable, meaning that the few coins preserved in original rolls or uncirculated sets are becoming increasingly rare as others are spent, mishandled, or scratched over time, and that gives an edge to the sharp-eyed collector who might stumble across a high-quality example in change, bank rolls, or even forgotten mint sets stored away a decade ago. And this is why the story of the 2012D nickel serves as an important reminder that coin collecting in the modern era isn't just about old coins. It's about quality, rarity, and opportunity. And sometimes those opportunities come from the most unexpected places, including your pocket, your change jar, or that drawer where you toss random coins without thinking twice. So whether it's an era coin with dramatic visual appeal, a top-graded gem that few others can claim, or a unique minting anomaly that escaped detection, the 2012D Jefferson nickel has already proven that even recent coins can reach jaw-dropping prices when the right conditions align. And for collectors who are paying attention, it's another exciting example of how the world of numismatics is constantly evolving, with new discoveries being made all the time and hidden gems turning up in the most ordinary of places. And as always, it pays to keep your eyes open, do your research, and never underestimate the potential value of the coins in your possession. Because as we've seen with both the legendary 1964 and the surprisingly valuable 2012D nickels, fortune doesn't always favor the oldest or rarest. It sometimes favors the most overlooked, the most perfectly preserved, or the most strikingly flawed. So check those nickels closely, keep learning what to look for, and remember that your next great discovery might be just one coin away. And just when you thought the surprises might be over, there's another modern nickel that has stunned collectors and made headlines for its unexpected and impressive value. Yes, we're talking about the 2014 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin minted in Philadelphia that, under very specific and rare circumstances, has been known to sell for up to $11,000. Further proving that even in the age of high-speed minting and strict quality controls, incredible errors, rare designations, and extremely high-grade examples can slip through the cracks and become sought-after prizes for serious collectors and dedicated numismatists. And the story of the 2014 P nickel is yet another testament to the evolving world of modern coin collecting, where attention to detail and the pursuit of registry set perfection can turn a 5-cent piece into a 5-figure payday. Starting with the fact that most 2014 P nickels are indeed common and can still be found in circulation today, but among the many millions produced, only a microscopic fraction were preserved in absolutely flawless condition or struck with significant mint errors that drastically increased their value. And it's precisely this rarity, both in terms of condition and unique features, that makes the high-value 2014 P nickels so interesting and potentially profitable, beginning with the idea of condition rarity. Because while the vast majority of these coins were quickly put into circulation and suffered the usual scratches, nicks, and contact marks, a tiny number were either pulled directly from mint sets, discovered in original bank-wrapped rolls, or simply preserved with extraordinary care, and when submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, a few were awarded ultra-high grades such as MS68 or even MS69, which are extremely difficult to achieve for any modern nickel due to the soft nature of the metal and the risk of tiny imperfections during the minting process. And these top-graded examples, often labeled with full steps, FS, designations indicating that the steps on Monticello are sharply and fully struck with no interruptions, are incredibly rare and valuable because they are not only visually stunning but also meet the highest technical standards for strike quality and preservation. And in the ultra-competitive world of registry set collecting, where top-tier collectors compete to assemble the highest-graded examples of every date and mint mark, these coins become absolute must-haves, and when only a couple of coins exist at the MS68 FS level, bidding wars erupt, pushing prices well beyond the $10,000 mark, as was the case with one confirmed 2014 P nickel that sold for over $11,000 in a high-profile auction because it was not only a top population coin but also had perfect surfaces, brilliant luster, and eye appeal that caught the attention of multiple top-tier collectors. But the story doesn't end with condition alone, because what truly adds an extra layer of intrigue to the 2014 P Nickel is the occasional appearance of striking mint errors, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die clashes, and even struck-through errors, which occur when foreign material like grease, string, or other debris gets between the die and the planchet during the minting process, leaving behind strange textures or missing design elements. And these types of errors, while often dramatic and visually obvious, become significantly more valuable when they occur on modern coins that are already difficult to find in pristine condition, and this creates a rare intersection of grade rarity and error rarity that elevates specific examples of the 2014 P nickel into the upper tier of value and collectability. And there are even rumors, though still under debate, of transitional errors or experimental planchet materials being tested during this period, which, if confirmed, could drive certain examples to even higher values. But even without speculative errors, the known and confirmed high-grade examples are enough to warrant serious attention from collectors, especially since many of these valuable coins were likely overlooked and spent years in circulation before being recognized, meaning there's always a chance that more exist in change jars, bank rolls, or untouched mint sets, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And that's what makes the 2014 P Jefferson nickel such an exciting and accessible coin for collectors of all levels. It's recent enough that you might actually find one, but rare enough in top condition or error form that it can reward you handsomely if you do, and as more people become aware of its potential, competition for the best examples continues to grow. So if you're serious about hunting for valuable nickels, this is absolutely one you should be checking every time you come across one. Especially if you have access to unsearched rolls or original government-issued mint sets from 2014, because whether it's a perfect full steps MS68 beauty, a dramatic off-center error, or a unique minting anomaly, the 2014 P nickel has already proven itself as a modern sleeper hit in the world of numismatics, and it serves as a powerful reminder that valuable coins aren't just relics of the past, they're still being produced today. And some of the most impressive finds can come from recent years when you least expect it, so keep your eyes open, sharpen your skills, and don't let those modern coins pass you by. Because as the stories of the 1964, 2012 D, and now the 2014 P Jefferson nickels clearly show, big money isn't always hiding in ancient artifacts, it might be right there in your pocket. And the list of shockingly valuable modern nickels continues with yet another jaw-dropping example that proves lightning can strike more than once in the world of numismatics. This time, it's the 2015 P Jefferson nickel, a coin that, like its recent predecessors, has stunned collectors and auction houses alike by reaching impressive valuations of up to $10,000 under the right circumstances. And once again, it's a testament to how even the most seemingly ordinary and modern coins can become extraordinary treasures when a rare combination of condition, strike quality, and minting anomalies come together to create a piece that is not only visually stunning but also numismatically significant. And the story of the 2015 P nickel mirrors some of the patterns we've already seen with earlier examples, where despite the massive mintage numbers, running into the hundreds of millions, the true rarity lies not in the sheer quantity produced but in the microscopic number of coins that managed to emerge from the mint in virtually perfect condition or with rare, dramatic minting errors that elevate them far above face value and deep into the world of high-end collectible status. And to begin understanding what makes the 2015 P nickel worth as much as $10,000, we must first look at the critical role of grading. Particularly the importance of achieving ultra-high mint state designations like MS67, MS68, or even MS69, with full steps, and it's worth reiterating that full steps refers to the distinct and uninterrupted horizontal lines on the steps of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin, which are often poorly struck due to die wear or improper pressure during minting, making a coin that displays these features fully and clearly an automatic candidate for premium status, especially when combined with an impeccable surface, no visible flaws under magnification, and a strong overall eye appeal. And with the 2015 P nickel, only a tiny handful of coins have ever been certified in these top grades with full steps designation by major grading companies like PCGS and NGC, meaning the competition among registry set collectors, those who are assembling the finest known examples of each year and mintmark, is incredibly fierce, and when only one or two coins occupy that highest echelon of the population report, the price can skyrocket due to simple supply and demand. And we've already seen this dynamic play out at major auction houses, where top-graded 2015p nickels have brought in astonishing prices, including documented sales that have topped the $10,000 mark, especially when the coin features a perfectly centered strike, brilliant luster, and strong definition in all the key design elements. And again, it's not just about condition, because mint errors play a huge role in driving up value. And the 2015p nickel has had its share of dramatic and collectible errors, including major off-center strikes where the design is partially missing due to a misalignment during striking, which makes for a visually stunning error that can be worth thousands if paired with a visible date and mint mark, as well as die clashes where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like impressions of one side on the other, creating a fascinating and collectible error that excites error collectors who crave uniqueness. And then there are examples of the 2015p nickel with die cracks, die breaks, or cuds, where a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a raised, blob-like area on the coin, particularly along the rims or near key devices, which are always in high demand, especially when they are large, dramatic, or appear on multiple coins in a sequence that can help numismatists trace the life of that particular die, and some collectors even specialize exclusively in these types of errors, willing to pay premium prices for standout examples, especially if they are confirmed by third-party graders or appear in exceptionally high grades, and every once in a while, a coin appears with a double denomination or wrong planchet error, such as a 2015p nickel mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a dime or a foreign coin, which results in a piece that not only has the design elements of the nickel but is the wrong size, weight, or composition, instantly elevating it into the stratosphere of collectability and value. And although these errors are exceedingly rare, their mere possibility keeps collectors vigilant and adds to the mystique surrounding coins like the 2015p nickel. And what makes this coin even more compelling is its accessibility. Because while it is a relatively recent release, many people overlook or underestimate coins from the 2010s, assuming they haven't had time to appreciate in value, when in fact, coins from this era are already gaining recognition and earning permanent places in advanced registry sets, and this shift in collector mindset is driving increased interest in modern mint-state nickels, especially those with exceptional qualities or errors. So now more than ever is the time to be checking your change, reviewing mint sets, and searching bank rolls for overlooked gems like the 2015p nickel, because while most will be worth their standard 5 cents, every once in a while, someone finds that one in a million coin with the perfect storm of strike, condition, rarity, an error that turns it into a 4 or 5-figure payday. And the fact that this is even possible from a coin you could still receive in everyday transactions is what makes modern numismatics so exciting. It's not just about ancient rarities or long-gone silver coins, it's also about the incredible potential that still exists in coins minted just a few years ago, and the 2015p Jefferson nickel is a perfect example of that potential brought to life, showing us once again that treasure doesn't always come from the past, it sometimes comes from the pocket change of the present. So as always, stay curious, stay observant, and never assume that a recent date means low value, because the stories of the 1964, 2012D, 2014P, and now 2015P nickels all prove the same powerful point, that with the right mix of quality, error, rarity, and demand, even a humble 5-cent coin can make history and reward its finder with a life-changing surprise.